and welcome to tonight's video recap. We hope you enjoy everything that we're bringing to you tonight.
So we caught up with Amanda Madigan today at Diamond B Stud, schooling one of the beluga babies, a 4-year-old. Amanda, you've been doing quite a lot with the belugas and the Vivants as young horses in young horse classes. Tell us about this guy.
This guy is a beluga out of a mare that's actually got imported blood on both sides. She's a Quintana Vivant. Quintana is Conquistador's mother by Vivant, which everybody knows. So he's pretty important in our breeding program because he's so well bred on both sides. He's a cute little horse, and we sold him to one of our clients, and so she's going to have a great time on him.
Fantastic. And not only that, but you've got several going to the Summer Classic at SIAC this weekend.
Yes, we will have a full truckload between horses that I'm riding and clients' horses. We start off on the Wednesday with the young horse classes. We've got 3 belugas in the 4-year-old class and 2 belugas in the 5-year-old class. So we hope they impress.
Yeah, they sure do with all their white bling. They look fancy for sure.
Yes, they definitely do.
And you've got Vivian.
I've got Vivian, which is a Vivant out of the Conquistador Imperial Sil mare. She's our high hopes for getting into the Grand Prix in the future. Right now she's mini-preeing and she's performing very well. So I'm hoping we have a very good weekend with her in the mini-prix final.
So did you start Vivian as a baby horse as well?
Yes, she started as a foal here. I did the training of her up to the level that she's up to. We started off in all the young horse classes, which is fantastic to be able to have these young horse classes to allow them to be educated in the right manner.
Yeah, and they certainly look very trainable and easy to get on with, these guys. Yeah,
these guys are. Like, I'm just amazed at how well the belugas are really helping the amateurs have such nice horses to be able to be ridden.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you all the best of luck with the young ones, and especially with Vivian in the mini-prix. Looking forward to her.
Yeah, I always love her. She always gives her best in the ring. So she gets more annoyed with herself, I think, when she has a rail. So I'm just hoping that she puts her foot forward this weekend and gives us the results we're used to.
Yeah, all the best, and well done over the season, and look forward to the new year with a whole lot more belugas and Vivant crosses.
Yeah, thank you, Roger.
Cheers, Amanda.
Bye.
So caught up with Helen Chugg at Diamond B Farm, just about an hour and 10 minutes out of Sydney, towards the Blue Mountains, where Helen's very involved in producing show jumpers from pre-birth all the way through to Grand Prix, with Amanda Madigan riding for her at the moment and doing a great job at that. Helen, I know you've been involved in show jumping, showing hacks, dressage to Grand Prix, eventing, the whole works, and yet you still come back to breeding show jumpers. What's the attraction?
I think I just love the jumping sport. It's actually more hereditary and easier to breed a jumper than, say, a dressage horse. It's sort of where we started, so you keep coming back to your beginnings.
I mean, when you first saw Vivant as a baby horse and you'd been looking for a long time in Europe for something, and what was it that attracted you to him all of a sudden and said, yeah, I've got to have that one?
His type. He walked out of his box and he just stood up. He was not quite 3 years old, and he was just, in my mind, exactly what I wanted to bring back to Australia for the clients. He was modern, he was very beautiful, and he was elegant.
And did you see him jump a lot before you bought him?
We free jumped him. He wasn't a marvellous free jumper, but when he rode under saddle over a couple of cross rails, he was quite exceptional. And I just loved the idea of the horse, and he obviously had a huger-than-life personality. He was exactly a modern sort of warm blood that I thought Australia needed.
So I think all along with your bloodlines and your breeding, they've always been rideable type. So in your mind, I mean, they've got to have a talent for jumping, and I guess partly that's genetic, but also trainability and temperament in show jumping is obviously really important.
Absolutely. There's a lot of lines that are a little bit negative. So I think Australians are used to riding thoroughbreds, so a horse of blood, a horse of attitude, I think suits the Australians better than perhaps a colder sort of horse, a colder or slower horse.
So the mares that are by Vivant are doing a good job for you?
They're absolutely fabulous because they add exactly what he had, a ton of heart. They're good types, they've got good legs, solid feet, and they've got heart.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then you had Conquistador?
Conquistador, we actually targeted a Clinton stallion. He was doing very well at the time, and I thought that his bloodlines would complement Vivant's, and it's proved to be luckily correct.
Absolutely. And now with beautiful Beluga.
And Beluga again, we needed even more rideability to put into the horses. I mean, he's a very similar type to the other two, all Hanoverian bred, and he's a beautiful horse with a lovely mind, and he's really proving to put rideability into the other horses' progeny, which is great.
So do you think when you see them as young horses, how many of them you look at and think, yeah, that's going to be a Grand Prix jumper?
Like, that's a really hard question. I don't think you really know until they're probably jumping mini prix whether they're going to make that step up. It's probably the same with dressage horses. Are they going to really collect enough and be strong enough? Certainly horses can look amazing as young horses and not necessarily go on to be Grand Prix horses. Some horses are a bit too careful. Some horses aren't careful enough. So, I think you can believe in your bloodlines and you can hope they'll make Grand Prix horses. But I think if you breed good sound types that are rideable, then they'll find their own level.
I know that your temperament and the way you bring them up as baby horses is really important, and the rideability factor. So people that are out there are interested in breeding something, what do you think is really important with a mare that you need to use for breeding, especially a show jumper?
I think first of all it has to be from a good family. It has to be sound. Very, very important that you're not breeding from something just because it's broken down, you're going to put it in the paddock and breed from it. It has to be sound, it has to be rideable. It's great if they've had a career, but often that's not important, or it's not able to happen. Like, I have a couple of young mares that I retired into the broodmare paddock as 5-year-olds because I didn't want to sell them. So we broke them in, we rode them young, we made sure they were rideable, they had good jumps, they got very good families, so they became specifically broodmares.
Yeah, and they're certainly breeding beautiful types for sure. And you obviously take a great interest in watching the young ones come on, and with Amanda riding it must be fantastic to see them from birth through foals to being broken and then in the ring.
Absolutely, it's a complete passion. Like when you take a horse to vetting, and there's always that question, how long have you known this horse? And I always like to put since he was a follicle, because you start at the very, very beginning of it before conception, and to have them become lovely horses, whether you're selling them as 3-year-olds or 10-year-olds, it's a real buzz.
So as far as a market, you breed quite a lot of very good show jumpers. As far as the market, do you target a market, or do you just, what is there something specific that you breed for that's going to be saleable?
I think, everyone wants to breed a Grand Prix horse, but I think along the way you have to be looking at type, rideability, so that if it doesn't become a Grand Prix horse, it'll find its niche. Like, say, the mare Vivian that we have at the moment, she's a really lovely mare, and I believe that she'll become a Grand Prix horse. She's doing everything right. Her mother was a beautiful Conquistador mare that wasn't a Grand Prix horse, but she was a very rideable mare, good canter, lovely brain, good bloodlines. So you put that to Vivant, and the result was Vivian, who would be a very, very good horse. We had 3 fillies out of Vivian by different stallions, and you hope that they would all go on and be good horses, but certainly if they don't, they've got the goods to become a good horse for someone at some level.
So, whenever you look at the results, there's lots of V names and C names, and lots of Conquistador and Vivant progeny doing very well out there. That must make you feel good.
I think the nicest thing about those 2 boys is that their strike rate is very high. Neither stallion covered huge books of mares because breeding in Australia is quite small, but the rate of foals to hit the ground to competition winners is really high. I think that's a very important thing to look at when you're looking at stallions.
Yeah, it's certainly an exciting time, and with the season sort of coming to a close with a couple more shows, and I know you've got some young ones this weekend, and then the following weekend at Willinga. All the very best of luck, and how many foals we've got due this year?
We've only got 2. Last year I think the mares knew there was a drought looming, so it was a fairly ordinary breeding season for us, but I don't tend to breed a lot. We tend to breed between 2 and 6 a year because we live close to Sydney, and of course I should have 1,000 acres of river flat somewhere, which we simply don't. So I keep the numbers down. I have a small band of brood mares that are very well bred, and it makes it easier, therefore, to be able to produce 3 or 4 young ones a year.
Oh, fantastic. Well, good luck with the rest of the shows, and we look forward to the foals that you're getting this year.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Helen.
Thanks, Rog.
At Yandoo, caught up with Jamie and Jamie. Jamie Kermond's just returned from golfing, absolute favourite pastime other than riding horses. Jamie, about your overseas trip, obviously it was a fantastic success and the big horse Constellation was outstanding. And it's back here in Australia now, back home here in the farm just behind us. So that sort of experience, you just can't get that here in Australia, is that right?
Well, not those sort of championships. You sort of the only time you get that experience is when you're at a championship. That sort of nothing can really can prepare you for it, apart from that was my 3rd one, so I've had a bit of experience in the past. But it's not like if you're in Europe you get the experience to go to a world championship, because it's a different kind of a pressure. It is a bit hard here, being so far away from other countries, that we don't get to do a lot of team stuff. But hopefully with New Zealand and that, we can keep doing a bit more in the future. And I think we should really push the states to have some really good competition between like Victoria, New South Wales, South Australia. Like just get some good state comp going, so that'll be some a good lead-in.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's a quietish year because not Olympic year next year, but I guess with Constellation you must be thinking about keeping him right for Tokyo, because he's certainly a huge scopy horse with lots of talent.
Yeah, for sure. He just turned 12, so he's not that old. So for Tokyo, he'll be 13, rising 14, which is sort of still in his prime, I think. And he's sort of got a lot stronger the last 12 months, so we're hoping to get him a little bit stronger, just a little bit better on the flat. He's never going to be a horse that goes around and looks like a dressage horse sort of thing, because he's just not built that way. But if we can get him another 10-15%, and then next year's all about just doing a few shows, probably set him up for Elysian to be one of the main ones, but just keep ticking him over and just try to keep the horse as sound as possible and then have a red hot go at Tokyo.
Yeah, sounds fantastic. And Jamie, being a mother and all, and having a fabulous son, Hudson, I guess it must change your slant a little bit on life and about working horses.
Yeah, being pregnant and shortly after giving birth, you're not really able to get in the saddle, and so it was an interesting break. I still worked closely with Kermond, the horses, and teaching and stuff, but it made me look forward to getting back on the horse. That was cool. I'm a bit lacking in horsepower at the minute.
That's probably handy, thinking your routine's completely all face about now with a child to look after as well.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky in that he's a really, really good kid. I don't know what, like I just said to Mum earlier, I was like, I don't know what people do when their kids don't sleep well, or I think, he definitely came out and looked at us and thought, these guys are beginners, I better go easy on them. He's, I don't think any kid's easy, especially as your first, but he's certainly not challenged us too much in that respect. So that's been quite good, and that was good for me, considering Kerm was away so much of the first year. That was really hard on him. We wanted him to go to the WEG on our horse, being at the first one that's owned by Yandoo that he's taken to a games, and he had to commit to that time over in Europe, and it was only made possible, I suppose, that we could send Holly, who knew the horse so well and everything, that he could come back and spend time with Hudson, because before Hudson we would have otherwise gone together and stayed there the whole time, but with the new baby and everything, he had to come back and forth. So it's we're looking forward probably to next year, 2019, both being here full time and getting back into the business side of things.
The place looks amazing, and obviously you're starting with young horses and horses you've bred, and that must be really exciting, seeing them come up through the ranks and sort of like breeding that you've chosen, and you're able to take from foals right the way through. So the young horses excite you?
Yeah, they do. It's exciting seeing a couple that we've bred and sold out there, like Yandoo Pasadena with Millie Fisher, and her full sister Pennsylvania with Susie Willis, and a couple others out there that we've sold on, and they're doing really well because we've not had the time to put into our young ones. So pretty motivating now with the ones that we've got coming up, that actually we've bred a few that are talented, so see what's coming next this year with a few that we've got next year. And we've got a good team here. We're going to lose a couple people in Holly and Todd, who've been with us quite a while now, and they'll be missed, but to replace them we're looking for a good young horse rider that does a bit of grooming and maybe another show groom for Kerm, and we've got a really good team that's staying in Cody and Wayne. And Wayne we imported who worked for us in Germany, and he's great on the flat with our going horses and with the young ones. So, you know, I think we're pretty excited to stay home for part of 2019 and do a lot of homework on those young ones, and then get them out to a few of the good shows that we plan for next year.
So how many horses have we actually got on the property?
Too many.
About
Good
20,
answer.
22 many.
Yeah,
I think there's about 41. I think we had a count up yesterday.
Oh wow, that's amazing. And Kerm, how many are you riding a day, or how many are you getting ready to compete with?
Not many. I've sort of been, all I've done is horses for quite a while now. So at the moment I sort of probably only ride 2 or 3 a day, where we've got other people that keep the horses ticking over, and I'm trying to do just a few different things. I'm doing a little bit more shoeing again, and doing a bit of work in the shed, and just trying to do a few different things. So I think it's not a secret that I get a bit stale on the day-to-day stuff with horses. All I've ever done in my whole life is horses, so I'm trying to...
doing a bit of teaching now.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull back a little bit on riding, a bit more teaching, and hopefully we get the right people around us next year where they can keep them ticking over, and I'll just sort of do a little bit less.
Fantastic. And when will you put Constellation back in work?
I haven't really nutted out his schedule, but he'll have a good month off now, like just without being ridden or anything, and then he'll come back into work and just be in light work. Probably get ridden 3 or 4 times a week for a while, but I just haven't really sat down and worked the schedule out. But we want to have him up and running around Easter time.
Have you got a young one coming up that you think's a bit of a favourite that's seriously talented?
Yeah, we've got one that we own with Mark Fraser. What's his Clara? Casciato. When he's Josh
He's
Cole.
Cascadello Diorado, Cascadello being Casal Clearway, and the mare Diorado.
Yeah, he actually looks a lot like Casal. Not saying he's going to be anything like that, but he's a really nice horse, and his free jump's unbelievable, and he broke in really well, and Josh jumped down the saddle and he jumped really good. So we're quite excited about that one. But he's I was away a lot, so he's a little bit behind where he probably could be as a 4-year-old now, but he'll catch up pretty quick next year.
So do you guys look forward to doing the young horse classes? I know there's a lot of interest now with the young horse class in the show jumping and culminating down in that dressage and jumping with the stars. But do you guys think that those classes have a big place now in the scheme of things within show jumping
More
here?
now.
They're getting a lot better. The problem I've had with them in the past is a lot of the time, if you've got really good young horses, that the classes are too small for them. They sort of cater for the inexperienced ones, which is also fine. But I really think for the futurities and that kind of stuff, they should be changed to 7 and 8-year-old classes, and we really should be pushing more of the 7 and 8-year-old classes as well, where you jump bigger
tracks. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's good. There's so much breeding going on now. Like, it's different to 10, 15 years ago, where there was a handful of people breeding and nobody had young horses. But now every stable's got young horses, so I really think we need to keep pushing it and take on the European system a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know that some of your young horses have been fantastic, and I know you've got a few of Mark Fraser's as well from Talara, and there's a great partnership. So, well, and what horse have you got coming up for Summer Classic?
I've got too much there. I'm riding Ciel.
Ciel is a conquistador out of a Vivant mare, 6-year-old, and we own her together. It was started with Dave Cameron, ourselves, and Caliera Performance Horses, who bred her, which is Pip and Sue Middleton. And we own about approximately 10 horses with Caliera, being the Middletons, including my good grey mare Zarissa. They bought her with us, and Pippi Longstocking. So Ciel's their next one down, and an exciting 6-year-old mare that Kerm's riding. She's just quite quirky in her attitude, being a chestnut mare, quirky in her attitude. So but ridiculously talented. So that one Kerm will ride.
And what about you, Jane? What have you got for the shows?
I'm only riding I'm riding Pippi Longstockings in the futurity class, a 9-year-old mare that's out of the same mother as Constellation. And Windstorm, Talara Windstorm, who's the first one I bought from Mark Fraser as a yearling, and now he's rising 10. And I would love to say he's in the Grand Prix, but I'm just going to step him back to the Mini Prix. He's got all the scope and ability, but it's probably a bit quick for him. He's missed a bit, and I'll ride one off the track thoroughbred on Wednesday in the thoroughbred classes that's owned by the Peel family and Rachel Peel. They just bought him, and that's her new horse that she'll be riding next year.
Great. Yeah,
It's
sounds
actually,
fantastic.
it's been a pretty big year for us. We've had a lot going on, so we're looking forward to this show. We're sort of, Jamie's horses are stepping down. I'm riding 2 horses sort of in the smaller classes, so we're looking forward to the Saturday and Sunday just going to the show and enjoying the VIP and having a cold beer and watching the action.
Having a break, yeah, so get summer away a little bit and then start again refresh next year. Sounds fantastic.
He always thinks it's going to be that, but you'll see him in the warming up everyone, and he'll be looking up at the VIP and people drinking.
Wishing you up there all playing golf, one of the two. Well, it was great to catch up with you, and good luck at the show. Have a super Christmas, and we look forward to a really successful 2019. Thanks for your time, Jamie and Jamie.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching tonight's video recap with Equestrian Life. We'll see you next time.